Hello everyone, my name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
Today we have a scary video. Somebody had a catastrophic failure, open circuit, on their water. The SPG blew up. And air is getting out of the tank as fast as you can. It's also in current, which doesn't add to it. And now you can see what happens when there's an emergency and just regular open circuit recreational divers have to handle that. How do you share air with somebody who has no air deep on the water with current? It just, it wasn't an easy exercise for these guys. And, let's talk about it.
And this is not a reenactment.
This is legit.
They happen to be filming a real... Okay, cool.
Yep.
Wow. Let's watch it.
Uh-oh. This is also for the people that say, I don't use transmitters because SPGs don't fail. Okay, well.
Are they in ice? I mean, it looks... Oh, no, it's just a...
So I don't know if you noticed, that guy just passed the primary, however. Just grabbed it and, tossed it. Look at that thing.
Yeah. So that's coming out of a high-pressure port.
Yep.
And it would actually go slower than a low-pressure port, by the way.
Yep.
Because it's a smaller hole that it's coming out.
So this guy is asking him, what's your air pressure? Showing, I don't know if that's an instructor or somebody else. I think it's somebody else. Look, I have no air.
Do you remember a previous video where we had a contest and I mean, you have to admit my solution with duct tape and the purple Elmer's glue, nothing. You don't want to acknowledge that I won.
We'll share it at the end for those who didn't watch that gem.
I won. That gem.
So they're going up, but they're not holding on to each other. And that's a problem. So I'll pause it right there. So one of the biggest things about sharing air with somebody else is that the air that you're sharing is connected to a regulator that is connected to your own tank. So if you pass it to them, especially in high current like these guys, and you both get disconnected, then that's a problem because you're bringing the regulator with you. It's connected to your tank, and they are the ones without air. So one of the biggest things about sharing air is to hang on to each other. You have two arms. You pass the air, hang on to each other, right? Arm's length. Even if there's current, we drift together. We go together because you have air. And this is actually something that happened to me on one of the classes I was teaching with Doug, the recreational trimix class. And the student passed air. So it was an exercise where I ran out of air. I was the victim. They passed air to me. I put the regulator in my mouth, and the student just turned around and started swimming without grabbing me. So guess what happened?
You probably just had a mouthpiece.
The mouthpiece disconnected from the regulator. And that is the worst feeling because it feels like you have a regulator in your mouth.
Did you
exactly?
Did you inhale
I tried.
water?
I tried to inhale, and it was water in my mouth.
So you got water?
No, I didn't go all the way in, but
Wow.
I got it to my throat, and I immediately spit this out. And I remember it was weird because I remember I took it out of my mouth and I looked at it
Where's the regulator?
I'm like, well, what's happening? And because I wasn't expecting it, and then I'm like, oh, that's right, I have to breathe. So I went back on the rebreather. But hang on to each other. That's the whole point.
For you that aren't scuba divers, I won't pause it. We do this drill where we go out of air, past the primary, and we do a grab. And it's a special kind of a holding on.
So this is the part that I didn't understand. So this guy takes the regulator out of his mouth and then starts free-flowing, go grab this, to the guy who was donating. He's not breathing right now. He's completely holding his breath. This guy disconnected. He grabs it. He's still not breathing. Come here, dude. Get on the line. I wonder if the guy who ran out of air is the instructor. He's like, get in the line. He's still holding his breath this whole time. Why? And then he's like, dude, give me your regulator. Give me your regulator. I have no air. I have no air. Can I have your reg? Can I please breathe? Pass the regulator. Now this guy's not breathing.
No, but I'm impressed with something. Okay, I'm gonna pause it.
Yeah.
Did you see when he didn't have air, how he was blowing bubbles the whole time? He remembered when you don't have a regulator in your mouth and you're underwater, we even at that moment don't hold our breath.
Yeah.
Why? So you don't expand. If you happen to go flying up, you'd have a lung overexpansion injury. I was impressed. In that panic of a moment, he was blowing out.
I just don't understand why they're buddy breathing, like literally taking regulator
I
back
don't know.
and
Is there
forward.
another? I can't tell. It's commotion. Is there another regulator available where they don't have to share a regulator?
There should be, right? I mean,
There
that's
should
the
be.
point. You should be able to help your buddy.
Either on the built into the low pressure inflator hose
Right.
as an air source too, or an octopus. But I can't tell. Let's see if we can see it.
Let's see one. So they're just taking turns.
It's hard to tell.
I mean, it feels
Where?
like there's a hose dangling, like right around here. If you pay attention, I'm gonna play it again. There's a hose dangling. I'm gonna go back 10 seconds, but there's a hose dangling down there. See, like behind his leg.
Yes.
There's a hose there. Like that
It looked
should
like
be
a
another regulator.
It looked like one for a
Yeah.
second.
Why are they
Maybe he
not
lost it.
using it? So you give me yours back, and you breathe from your air too. This is.
I think they're doing a good job. I think they're not panicked, and they are dealing with a stressful situation rather well, to be honest. Look at them. They're
Hang on to the line. Hang on to the line. This guy's breathing out of his air too. See that?
okay. So he did pass his to the other guy. So they all three have regulators now.
Yep.
You can tell they're calming down.
It's like go up, and I think he takes a final breath and goes for it. I don't know why. I know they're all doing like up, get out of here. Thumbs up in scuba is not good, by the way. It's dive is over. Let's
The only
get
thing I
out of
can
here.
think of is they're looking at their gauge and they're like, we're gonna run out of air. Why else would you go up at that moment?
Right.
Right. So if you have an emergency, a question often comes up: do we stop and make the safety stop, assuming we have no deco, like we can go all the way to the surface? And the answer would be, look, if I got plenty of air and I'm at 20 feet and we're calm and we're holding on to each other, why not make the safety stop? It's okay to make it. But in this case, we can't second guess them because I actually think they did a good job. I
They all
really
made
do.
it out.
That guy put his air 2 in. He passed it across another guy to the third guy, and they were breathing. And apparently they were about to run out of air, and they went up. Wow. I don't think I can't be too overcritical. That was
No, they did a
pretty
good job. It could have been smoother if they all hang on to each other. I didn't see anyone grabbing into anyone. That would be the only, like, I guess, pointer that I would add. Best practice, hang on to each other. But other than that,
Even if there's
mission accomplished.
Even if there's a line, try to hold on to the person for the point Gus made earlier, so we don't rip something out of their mouth. But you know what? In the moment and the situation they were in, yeah, pretty good job.
Yeah. This video also reminded me of that whole argument, I guess, that we'll never see the end of the day, where people argue whether you use transmitters for air integration, and if you do you use also an SPG for backup?
I don't
or a submersible pressure gauge
I don't.
for backup?
Do you?
Or do you not use a transmitter and only rely on SPGs because they don't fail, even though we just saw one exploded and one exploded on me as well?
Well, by the way, they were notorious for failing a lot.
They
a while ago,
fail
but-
more often
but
than transmitters.
When
Yeah.
you use your transmitter, do you also use an SPG?
No. Well,
I
yes
don't.
and no. So, yes, on the tanks that I could pass to somebody because I want them to be able to have an SPG. Right? Now, that SPG could be a button SPG, and sometimes I do have it with a hose. So, if the tank is a tank that I can actually pass to somebody, like we do that with rebreathers, when you breathe it down to 50%, we switch, and you get a full tank, and I take your 50% tank, then I put an SPG on those.
A little button on the top.
Yes,
That's all you need.
I put an SPG on those. But if it's something that I'm not going to be passing to anyone, I don't have an SPG. I only have a transmitter.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother discussion outside of this video.
But I want people to comment below and
is-
tell us, what do you do
Is
if you're a
when,
diver?
when on a rebreather, do you really pass somebody the tank? Or which tank do you pass them? We would need to get really real about that. I want you to put on a rebreather, hook up everything. I was just telling my students today, I just taught earlier in the day, okay, let me see you unhook that underwater,
Yeah.
grab that tank, you get all hooked back up, Is that really what you would do
No.
in an emergency?
No,
Come
we I want them to be able to see the air pressure on the tank.
Very valid.
Right. So that's why I do it.
Interesting video.
But I want people to comment below. What do? Do you dive with transmitters? No transmitters? You have a backup SPG? This is a debate that we'll have no end. No one is like 100% right on this. Is back and forth. There's people that don't. In some cases, let's not say any names, but some people don't have SPGs or transmitters or anything.
I do know some
you do know who we're talking about.
That don't.
But anyway, leave your comments below. However, Woody did mention a video early on today in which we went to 50 feet, I think it was, and then with bolt cutters, we cut the hose in half. And then before we ran out of air, breathing from that tank, we try to fix it with stuff that we've found at a store. I used a hardware store because I'm smart.
I used what I remember working perfectly in 4th grade, which worked again perfectly, which the video, you judge for yourself. It's awesome.
It was ridiculous, and if you haven't seen it, I'm going to leave it right here. I hope you enjoy that.
Purple.
I feel like we need a round 2 on this one.
Bring it on.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.